I never meant for it to go this far. At first, it was just harmless fun. A secret to keep my life from feeling so predictable, so painfully ordinary. But secrets have a way of growing, of digging in deep until they're tangled around every part of you. And now I can't tell where the lies end and I begin. I look at Tom as he sits at the kitchen table, his head buried in his laptop, fingers tapping away at keys. He's always working, always busy, always somewhere else even when he's right in front of me. Once upon a time that would have bothered me. Now I'm grateful. Keeps him distracted. Keeps him from asking questions. His hair has started to thin at the crown. I noticed it the other night when he leaned over to kiss me goodnight. A gesture so routine it felt hollow. I wanted to feel something, anything. But all I could think about was how dull it all seemed, how predictable he'd become. Maybe that's why it happened. Or maybe I'm just trying to justify what I did. Either way, I know I've crossed a line I can't uncross. It started with a message. Just a stupid, silly message on Facebook. "Hey, remember me?" Accompanied by a winking emoji. I almost ignored it, but curiosity got the better of me. It was Daniel, an old flame from college. He was all charm and confidence back then, and from the look of his profile picture, not much had changed. I never told Tom about Daniel. Why would I? It was before him, ancient history. But that first message led to another, and another. We started reminiscing about the old days, laughing about things I hadn't thought about in years. Daniel made me feel young again, alive. He asked about my life, about Tom, about our son Liam. I painted a picture of perfection. Happy marriage, beautiful family, the dream life. I even believed it myself as I typed the words. It felt good to play the role of the perfect wife, the content mother. But with every message I felt the mask slipping. One night after Tom went to bed, I stayed up texting Daniel. The conversation turned flirtatious fast. It was thrilling. My heart raced with every message. I hadn't felt that way in years. I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't stop. We started calling each other. At first it was just to hear his voice, to remember the boy I once loved. But he wasn't a boy anymore. He was a man who wanted me. I should have stopped it. I should have blocked his number and deleted every trace of him. But instead I found myself lying next to my husband, replaying Daniel's words in my head, his voice haunting my thoughts. It didn't take long before Daniel suggested we meet up. "Just for coffee," he said, his tone casual. But we both knew it wasn't just about coffee. I hesitated. Every warning bell in my head went off, but I agreed. I told myself I could handle it, that it would just be coffee. But deep down I knew better. That Friday I lied to Tom. I told him I was meeting Sarah, my best friend, for brunch. He barely looked up from his laptop, just mumbled an okay, before getting lost in his work again. I kissed his cheek and felt nothing. Meeting Daniel was surreal. He looked the same, just older, more refined. The spark was instant, magnetic. We talked for hours, laughing like no time had passed at all. Then he reached across the table and touched my hand. A shiver ran down my spine. I could have walked away then. I should have. But I didn't. When he suggested we go somewhere more private, I didn't even hesitate. That was 3 weeks ago. Since then we've met up 3 more times. I've gotten better at lying, more confident in my deception. Tom hasn't suspected a thing. He's too busy, too wrapped up in his own world to notice that his wife is slipping away. But this secret is starting to consume me. Every time I look at Tom, I feel a pang of guilt, but it's not strong enough to stop me. I can't stop. I won't stop. Because for the first time in years I feel alive. And I'm not ready to let that go. That I never realized how easy it would be to lie to him. Tom trusts me completely. He always has. It's part of the reason I fell in love with him in the first place. His unwavering faith in me, in us. Now that same trust makes him blind. I sit across from him at dinner, watching as he chews absent-mindedly, his eyes glued to his phone. Probably an email from his boss. Probably something so important that it can't wait until tomorrow. That's how it always is. Work first, family second. I've gotten used to it, stopped feeling resentful about it a long time ago. But lately I've been grateful for his distraction. It gives me room to breathe, room to live out this lie without him noticing. Sarah's thinking about doing a girls' weekend. I say casually, spearing a piece of roasted chicken with my fork. It's a half-truth. Sarah did mention something about a getaway once, but that was months ago. Now I'm using it as my cover. Tom doesn't even look up from his phone. Yeah? That's nice. I could have told him I was planning to rob a bank, and he'd probably react the same way. I feel the familiar sting of rejection, but I push it down. It's easier to swallow now, less bitter than it used to be. Besides, I have Daniel. I smile a little too wide and focus on my plate. Yeah, we're thinking about the coast. Just for the weekend. Nothing fancy. Sounds fun, he mumbles, his thumb flicking across his phone screen. My heart races. It's almost too easy. He doesn't question it, doesn't ask for details, doesn't even seem to care. I should feel hurt, but all I feel is relief. This lie is so much easier to carry than I thought it would be. That Friday I pack a bag with just enough to make the lie believable. Makeup, a change of clothes, a bottle of wine I picked up on the way home from work. I tell Tom that Sarah's picking me up, and that I'll be back Sunday evening. He barely looks away from his laptop long enough to kiss me goodbye. I don't feel guilty. Not anymore. Not when he makes it this easy. The drive to Daniel's apartment is nerve-wracking. I keep checking my phone, half expecting a message from Tom asking me to come home, telling me he's changed his mind and that he wants to spend the weekend together. But nothing comes. When I arrive, Daniel is waiting for me. He leans against the doorframe, that crooked smile playing on his lips. I feel a flutter of excitement as he pulls me inside, his hands warm and eager. I don't think about Tom once that night. Not once. Saturday morning I check my phone out of habit. There's a single message from Tom. Hope you're having fun. Miss you. I should feel something, guilt, shame, remorse, but all I feel is annoyance. I type out a quick reply, throwing in a heart emoji for good measure, then turn my phone off. This weekend is mine. Daniel takes me out for brunch at a little cafe downtown. We sit outside, sipping mimosas and laughing about old memories, stories from college that feel like a lifetime ago. When he reaches across the table and takes my hand, I don't pull away. We spend the day exploring the city, walking hand in hand like we're in some kind of rom-com. I let myself get lost in the fantasy, let myself pretend that this is my life, that I'm free and unburdened, that I'm not tethered to a man who barely looks at me anymore. That night, tangled up in Daniel's sheets, I let the truth slip. I've never felt this alive. I whisper, my voice breaking. Daniel looks at me, his eyes soft. You could have this, you know. We could have this. The words hang in the air, heavy and dangerous. I close my eyes, letting his arms tighten around me. When Sunday evening rolls around, I feel a pang of regret. Not for what I've done, but because I have to go back to my real life. To the dullness, the monotony, the empty marriage I've been pretending to be satisfied with. Daniel kisses me one last time before I leave, his hands lingering on my waist. Next weekend? He asks, his voice hopeful. I hesitate, my mind racing. Feels risky too soon. But the thought of waiting any longer makes my chest ache. I nod, my voice barely above a whisper. Next weekend. The drive home feels surreal. It's like stepping back into a life that doesn't belong to me. Slipping into a role I don't want to play anymore. But I do it. I walk through the front door, greet Tom with a smile, and tell him all about my weekend with Sarah. He doesn't ask for details, doesn't even seem that interested. I realize then just how invisible I am to him, how little he actually sees me, and I know that as long as he keeps looking right through me, I'll keep running back to Daniel. Because for the first time in a long time I finally feel seen. Monday morning I wake up before Tom, slipping out of bed as quietly as I can. My body still hums with the aftershocks of the weekend, but I can't afford to linger in that feeling. Reality has crept back in, wrapping around me like a cold, suffocating blanket. I walk to the bathroom, locking the door behind me. Turning on the shower, I let the steam rise, clouding the mirror. My reflection stares back at me, eyes tired but alive. I trace my lips with my fingertips, remembering Daniel's kiss from last night. I should feel guilty. I should feel something. But I don't. Instead, I feel electric, charged with something I haven't felt in years. Power. I've spent so long feeling like an accessory in my own marriage. A wife, a mother. A fixture in Tom's predictable, passionless life. But with Daniel I am something more. Something I can't let go of. By the time I come downstairs, Tom is already dressed for work. He's sitting at the kitchen table, typing furiously on his laptop, his coffee growing cold beside him. Morning, I say, keeping my voice light. He looks up briefly, flashing a tired smile. Hey, you're up early. I sit across from him, watching as he barely glances at me before returning to his screen. It's a stark contrast to Daniel, who can't take his eyes off me when we're together. I wonder how long Tom and I have been like this, two people living parallel lives under the same roof. How was your weekend? He asks absently, still not looking at me. The question catches me off guard. He never asks. Not really. I sip my coffee, forcing a small smile. Good. Relaxing. That's it. No further questions. No curiosity. He nods, already tuning me out, his mind locked inside whatever work emergency he's dealing with. And just like that, I know I can keep doing this. The week drags on, each day a tedious blur. Tom works late. Liam has soccer practice. I go through the motions of being the perfect wife, the doting mother. But my mind is elsewhere. Every stolen glance at my phone sends a thrill through me. Every message from Daniel pulls me deeper. Daniel, Friday. You and me. Me can't. Family dinner. Daniel, Saturday then. I don't care what we do. I just need to see you. Me, I'll find a way. And I do. On Friday evening I sit through dinner with Tom and Liam, smiling at all the right moments, nodding at the right times. But my heart isn't here. My body is, but my mind is already in Daniel's arms. I might go shopping tomorrow, I say casually, cutting into my steak. Sarah wants to check out a new boutique downtown. Tom doesn't even lift his head. Have fun. Liam barely acknowledges me. Too busy scrolling on his phone between bites. I could tell them I'm flying to Paris for the weekend, and I doubt they'd notice. So when Saturday morning rolls around, I slip out of the house easily. I text Sarah on the way. She doesn't ask questions, just promises to cover for me if Tom ever asks. She doesn't approve, but she also doesn't judge. I meet Daniel at a hotel this time. Not his apartment, not mine. A neutral space where reality doesn't exist. When I open the door to our suite, he's already there, waiting. His eyes rake over me, dark and hungry. You're playing a dangerous game, he murmurs, pulling me close. I press a finger to his lips, silencing him. Then let's make it worth it. And I do. By the time I return home, it's dark. I spent the day tangled in Daniel, wrapped in a world that doesn't belong to me. I step inside, smoothing my hair, checking my reflection in the mirror by the door. My heart is still racing. I'm careful. I always am. But something is different tonight. Tom is sitting on the couch, his laptop closed, his phone in his hand. He looks up when I walk in, his expression unreadable. Hey, I say lightly, slipping off my coat. Everything okay? His eyes flick over me, lingering for just a second too long. Yeah. Silence. I hesitate, then force a smile. How was your day? His jaw clenches, so subtle I almost miss it. Fine. Yours. Something in his tone makes my stomach twist. I keep my voice even. Good. Sarah and I had a nice time. I wait for him to nod, to dismiss me like he always does. But he doesn't. Instead, he watches me. A beat too long. A fraction too intense. For the first time in weeks, I feel something cold crawl up my spine. Does he know? No. He couldn't. Could he? I swallow hard and force myself to move, walking past him to the kitchen. I pour myself a glass of wine, my hand steady, my breath even. I remind myself that I've been careful, that I haven't left a trail, that Tom doesn't pay enough attention to me to even suspect. And yet, something in the way he looked at me tonight felt different. Like he was really seeing me for the first time in a long time. I take a slow sip of my wine, forcing down the panic rising in my chest. Maybe I'm imagining it. Maybe it's nothing. But for the first time since this all started, doubt begins to creep in. Did I miss something? Did he? I set the glass down, exhaling slowly. I can't afford to slip up now. Not when I have too much to lose. That I wake up Sunday morning with a pounding headache. Maybe it's the wine, or maybe it's the lingering weight of Tom's gaze from last night. That look is still burned into my mind, too steady, too knowing. I tell myself I'm being paranoid, that there's no way Tom suspects anything. He's too wrapped up in work, too distant to notice. But for the first time in weeks, I feel a small flicker of fear. Did I miss something? I turn my head on the pillow, glancing at Tom. He's already awake, scrolling through his phone, the blue light from the screen casting sharp shadows over his face. He doesn't look at me, doesn't acknowledge that I'm even there. For a moment I feel relief. He's normal. Nothing has changed. I force myself to relax, to breathe. I had the weirdest dream last night. I say, my voice still groggy. Tom hums, distracted. Yeah. I stretch, making my movements slow, natural. I dreamt we went on vacation. Some tropical island, just the two of us. Tom finally looks at me, his brows lifting slightly. Yeah. I nod, giving him a soft smile. We should do that sometime. His expression doesn't change. He just looks at me for a second, then turns back to his phone. Maybe. The moment passes, but something about it feels wrong. Like a misstep on a staircase, the slight shift of balance before you fall. I shake the thought away and roll out of bed, forcing myself to go about the day like everything is normal. Like I haven't spent the past few weeks lying. Like I haven't been sneaking around behind my husband's back, that I go about my routine. Coffee, laundry, checking my phone for messages from Daniel. Daniel, morning, beautiful. Missing you already. Me, morning. I miss you too. I hesitate before sending the message, glancing toward the living room where Tom is sitting. I don't know why I feel the need to check if he's watching, because something feels off. Still, I send the message. Then I delete it. Just in case. At dinner, Tom speaks first. What did you and Sarah do yesterday? The question is so casual, so offhand that I almost don't catch it. But when I do, my stomach clenches. He never asks. Never. I pick up my wine glass, using the motion to buy myself a second to think. Oh, shopping, lunch, more shopping. I smile, rolling my eyes like it's nothing. The usual. Tom nods slowly. He doesn't push for details. I should feel relieved. But I don't. Because now I know. He's watching me. That night I don't sleep well. My mind keeps replaying the way Tom asked that question, the way he looked at me when I answered. Did Sarah say something? No. She wouldn't. But I know my husband. I know when he's working through something in his head, when he's connecting dots. And I can't let him connect these dots. Monday morning, Tom leaves for work early. I check my phone first thing. Daniel, you free Friday? Me, yes. I'll come up with something. Another lie. Another weekend stolen. It's becoming second nature. I delete the messages just like always. But this time I forget something. I forget to delete the call log. That night Tom is quiet again. Distracted. I think it's just work stress. I convince myself of it. Until he does something strange. He picks up my phone. It's sitting on the kitchen counter when he reaches for it. A completely innocent gesture, except my heart nearly stops. I watch frozen as he taps the screen. I know my messages are clean. My emails are clear. There's nothing for him to find. But then I see his jaw tighten. And my stomach drops. I don't even have to ask. I already know. He saw Daniel's name in my call history. Tom doesn't say anything. He just sets the phone back down, walks over to the sink, and starts washing his hands like nothing happened. But I can see it. The way his shoulders tense. The way his movements are too slow, too measured. He knows. He knows. And for the first time I realize something terrifying. This isn't a game anymore. This is war. I spend the rest of the evening trying to act normal. But everything feels off. The air between us is heavy, suffocating. Every time Tom looks at me, my heart races, convinced that he's about to confront me, to throw Daniel's name in my face and demand answers. But he doesn't. Instead, he goes through the motions, dinner, dishes, and even a half-hearted attempt at small talk. It's like he's playing a role, reciting lines from a script he doesn't believe in. I find myself watching him, studying his every move. Did he really see Daniel's name? Does he know who Daniel is? Does he know everything? The thought sends a cold chill through me. But then just as quickly I push it away. He's acting normal. Everything's fine. I just need to be careful. I force a smile as I fold laundry on the couch, glancing at Tom as he watches TV. Long day. I ask, my voice light, casual. He nods, his eyes never leaving the screen. Yeah, just a lot going on at work. It sounds rehearsed, too practiced. He's lying. But then again, so am I. The next few days are tense. I'm hyper-aware of everything I say, every move I make. I keep my phone glued to my side, deleting messages the moment they come in, double-checking the call logs before bed. I can't afford another mistake. Not now. Tom acts like everything's fine, but I see the cracks. He's quieter than usual, his smile's never quite reaching his eyes. Sometimes I catch him watching me when he thinks I'm not looking. His gaze hard and unyielding. I'm being paranoid. I have to be. He doesn't know. He can't. But just in case, I cancel my plans with Daniel that weekend. I tell him something came up, that I need to keep up the act a little longer. He's disappointed but understanding. Daniel, next weekend then? Me definitely. I delete the messages immediately. Then I delete them from my recently deleted folder just to be safe. Friday night, Tom suggests we watch a movie together. He never does that. Not anymore. But I don't question it. I just smile and agree, curling up on the couch next to him, pretending like everything is fine. Halfway through the movie, he reaches over and takes my hand. Feels wrong. Unnatural. I glance at him, but his eyes are fixed on the screen. His expression unreadable. It's like he's testing me, waiting to see how I'll react. I let him hold my hand, even though his touch feels foreign, unfamiliar. And the longer he holds it, the more I realize how far gone I really am. Saturday morning, I wake up to find Tom already downstairs making breakfast. He's humming to himself, his back to me as he flips pancakes. Feels too normal. Too perfect. I smile, wrapping my arms around his waist. What's all this? He tenses just for a moment, before relaxing into my touch. Just thought I'd do something nice for a change. We don't do this enough. I laugh, pressing my cheek to his back. I like it. Feels like old times. He's silent for a beat, his shoulders stiffening. Yeah, old times. Something about his voice makes my stomach twist. But I force myself to smile to keep up the charade. We eat breakfast together, laughing over old memories, talking about Liam's soccer practice and Tom's latest project at work. It almost feels normal. Almost. But then he sets his fork down, his eyes locking onto mine. Who's Daniel? The question is so sudden, so jarring that I feel the world tilt beneath me. I grip my coffee mug to keep my hands from shaking. What? Tom's face is perfectly neutral, his voice too calm. You called someone named Daniel last week. Who is he? My heart is racing, but I force myself to stay calm. Oh, Daniel. He's a client. I say the first thing that comes to mind, my voice steady, my smile practiced. From work. He was having some issues with his account, so I gave him a quick call. Nothing major. Tom doesn't react. He just keeps watching me, his gaze unflinching. Why didn't you mention it before? I shrug, forcing a laugh. I don't know. It just slipped my mind. It wasn't a big deal. I hold my breath, waiting for him to push, to question me, to tear my lie apart. But he just nods, picking up his fork. Okay. That's it. Just okay. I exhale slowly, relief flooding through me. He believes me. I almost feel victorious. I almost let my guard down. Until he speaks again. I checked your call history, you know. You called him twice. And texted him too. My blood runs cold. You checked my phone? Tom's expression hardens. Why wouldn't I? You've been acting weird for weeks. I had to make sure everything was fine. There's no warmth in his voice. No love. Just cold, calculating suspicion. I realize then just how badly I've underestimated him. He's not as blind as I thought. And now he's watching my every move. That I smile, leaning back in my chair, pretending to be unfazed. I don't know what to tell you, Tom. He's just a client. He holds my gaze, searching my face for any sign of a crack. I keep my expression neutral, my smile unwavering. After a moment he sighs, his shoulders sagging. Okay. Feels like a victory. Like I've won. But when he gets up from the table, his movements are slow, deliberate. And as he walks out of the room, I see the set of his jaw, the tension in his shoulders. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. I've been careful. So careful. But I made one mistake. And Tom isn't going to let it go. The days blur together after that, each one more suffocating than the last. I can feel Tom's suspicion growing, circling me like a predator waiting for its prey to make a wrong move. He doesn't say anything more about Daniel, But his demeanor is different, colder, more calculating. He watches me. Constantly. I catch him staring when he thinks I'm not looking, his eyes sharp, his expression distant. Sometimes I'll walk into a room and feel the air shift, heavy with unspoken accusations. He's waiting. Waiting for me to slip up again. I've been so careful, so meticulous with every lie, every story. But he's smarter than I gave him credit for, and now I'm paying the price. I should end it. I should call Daniel and tell him it's over, that we can't see each other anymore. It would be the logical thing to do. The safe thing. But I don't. I can't. I've come too far, invested too much. And besides, I need Daniel now more than ever. He's my escape, my sanctuary. The only place I feel alive. I tell myself I can keep playing this game, that I'm smart enough to outmaneuver Tom. But the doubt is there now, creeping into my thoughts, making me second-guess everything. Tom knows. He's just waiting for proof. And I can't let him find it. He starts small, subtle enough that I almost don't notice. Tom asks more questions than usual, simple things like where I went after work or who I talked to during the day. But his eyes are too focused, his voice too even. He's not just making conversation. He's interrogating me. I've become a master at lying, weaving my stories with just enough truth to make them believable. But now each word feels heavy, weighted with consequence. One wrong step and everything will come crashing down. I spend my days on edge, always looking over my shoulder, always anticipating the next trap Tom will set. I delete every text from Daniel, every call log, every trace of him from my phone. But it's not enough. It never feels like enough. Tom changes his schedule without warning, coming home early on random days, catching me off guard. Once he even showed up at my office, claiming he was in the neighborhood, and wanted to take me to lunch. I smiled and pretended to be surprised, but my heart was pounding the entire time. He's testing me. I've never been more careful. I've never felt more trapped. That Saturday, I wake up to find Tom already downstairs, his voice low and muffled as he talks on the phone. I freeze at the top of the stairs, my heart hammering in my chest. He never makes calls this early. Not on the weekend. I strain to listen, my body tense. Yeah, I just need to know where she's been. No, she doesn't know. Exactly. Just keep me updated. My blood turns to ice. He's spying on me. I back away from the stairs, moving as quietly as I can, my mind racing. How long has this been going on? How much does he know? I barely make it to the bedroom before my knees give out. I sit on the edge of the bed, my hands shaking as I try to catch my breath. He's following me. That's how he knew about Daniel. That's how he knew I was lying. He's been tracking me, watching my every move. I feel exposed, vulnerable. Like I'm being hunted. And I have no idea how much time I have left before he catches me. I don't call Daniel that weekend. I don't text him either. It's too risky. If Tom is watching, I can't afford any more mistakes. But it kills me. I feel restless, anxious, like I'm losing a part of myself by staying away. Daniel doesn't understand. He sends message after message, each one more worried than the last. I delete them all without reading, knowing I can't risk it. I tell Tom I'm sick, that I need to rest. He watches me all weekend, his gaze heavy and penetrating, like he's waiting for me to slip up. I keep my head down, playing the part of the dutiful wife. I let him make me tea, bring me medicine, tuck me in at night. And all the while I feel his eyes on me, searching for cracks in my story. By Monday, I can't take it anymore. I feel like I'm suffocating, like the walls are closing in. I need to see Daniel. I need to feel his arms around me. Need to remind myself that I'm still in control of my life. I wait until Tom leaves for work, watching from the window as his car disappears down the street. I grab my phone, my fingers trembling as I dial Daniel's number. He answers on the first ring. You had me worried. What's going on? I bite my lip, my eyes darting to the front door. I can't talk long. I need to see you. His voice softens. Are you okay? I want to tell him everything. I want to tell him how scared I am, how trapped I feel. But I can't. I can't let him see how weak I've become. I'm fine, I lie. I just miss you. There's a pause, then a sigh. I miss you too. When can I see you? I hesitate, glancing at the clock. Tonight. I'll figure something out. I hang up before he can ask more questions, my heart racing. I know it's risky, but I can't help it. I need him. I need to feel free again, if only for a few stolen hours. I just have to be careful. I just have to stay one step ahead of Tom. I delete the call log. Then double-check my phone for any trace of our conversation. I know Tom is watching, that he's waiting for me to make a mistake. But I won't give him the satisfaction. Not yet. I've played this game too long to lose now. But as I look at my reflection in the mirror, my own eyes staring back at me, I feel the doubt creep in again. I'm not as invisible as I thought. And Tom isn't as blind as I hoped. The noose is tightening. And I'm running out of room to breathe. I can't think straight. Not with Tom's eyes following me everywhere I go. His presence suffocating. His suspicion palpable. It feels like I'm living under a microscope. Every word I say, every movement I make scrutinized and analyzed. I've never felt more like a prisoner in my own home. That night, I tell him I'm meeting Sarah for dinner. It's the safest excuse I have, one I've used before. He nods, his expression neutral, but his eyes are cold, calculating. I can tell he doesn't believe me. I hold my breath, waiting for him to call me out, to question me, to demand proof. But he just says, "Have fun," and turns back to his laptop. It's almost disappointing how easily he lets me go. I wait until I'm down the street before calling Daniel. My heart racing with anticipation. I'm on my way. I tell him, trying to keep my voice steady. Finally he breathes, his relief palpable. "I thought you were avoiding me." I hesitate, guilt washing over me. Things have been complicated. I don't explain further. I can't. Daniel meets me at the hotel, his arms wrapping around me the second I walk through the door. I breathe him in, his scent grounding me, calming the chaos in my mind. "You're shaking," he murmurs, his hands warm against my back. "What's wrong?" I bury my face in his chest, my fingers gripping his shirt. "Nothing. Just work stress." It's not a complete lie. Living under Tom's scrutiny feels like a full-time job. Daniel tilts my chin up, his eyes searching mine. "Are you sure?" I nod, forcing a smile. "I'm fine now." I kiss him before he can ask more questions, pouring all my fear and desperation into him, needing him to chase away the darkness that's been suffocating me. For a few blissful hours, I forget about Tom. I forget about the lies, the fear, the suspicion. I lose myself in Daniel, letting him wrap me in his warmth, his touch, his love. But eventually reality comes crashing back. I check the clock, panic tightening my chest. I have to go. Daniel's face falls, his fingers brushing my hair. "Stay a little longer." "I can't," I whisper, my voice breaking. "He'll notice." I hate how weak I sound, how powerless I feel. Daniel's jaw tightens, frustration flashing in his eyes. "I hate this. I hate sharing you." A pang of guilt cuts through me. I know. I hate it too. But not enough to stop. Not enough to let him go. The drive home feels longer than usual, the weight of what I've done pressing down on me. I should feel guilty. I should feel ashamed. But all I feel is fear. Fear that Tom will know. Fear that I'll slip up again. I check my phone 3 times before I pull into the driveway, making sure I deleted every trace of Daniel. I can't afford another mistake. Not after last time. The house is dark when I walk in, the only light coming from Tom's office. I can see his silhouette through the glass door, his head bent over his laptop. I take a deep breath, steadying myself before walking in. He looks up, his eyes narrowing. "You're late." My heart skips a beat. "Yeah. Sarah wanted to stay for dessert." I force a laugh, hoping it sounds natural. She was talking my ear off. He doesn't smile. He doesn't laugh. He just watches me, his gaze unblinking. "Is that so?" I nod, feeling a chill run down my spine. "Yeah. Sorry. I should have texted." Tom stands, closing his laptop. "Next time, let me know. It's rude to leave me wondering." His voice is calm, but there's an edge to it, a warning. I swallow hard, nodding. "You're right. I'm sorry." He walks past me without another word, his shoulder brushing mine as he leaves the room. The coldness in his touch lingers long after he's gone. The next morning, Tom is gone before I wake up. I find a note on the kitchen counter. Had to leave early for a meeting. Have a good day. There's no heart, no love, no warmth. It feels like a goodbye. I sit at the table staring at the note, my chest tight. He's never left without saying goodbye before. Is this how it starts? Is this how he leaves me? I feel the panic rising, my mind racing. Did he figure it out? Did I leave something behind? I grab my phone, scrolling through my messages, my call log, my emails. There's nothing. I've been careful. I've covered my tracks. But doubt is a persistent poison and it's already infected me. I spend the day on edge, jumping every time my phone buzzes, half expecting it to be Tom, demanding answers, telling me he knows. But he never calls. By the time he gets home, I've convinced myself that he's leaving me. That he knows everything and he's just waiting for the right moment to confront me. But he walks in like nothing's wrong, kissing me on the cheek before sitting down to dinner. He asks about my day, talks about his meeting, laughs at a joke Liam tells at the table. He plays his role perfectly. And I realize, with a sinking feeling, that he's just as good at lying as I am. That night, I lie awake, my mind racing. Tom sleeps beside me, his breathing steady, his face calm. But I don't believe it. Not for a second. I keep replaying every word he said, every look he gave me, searching for hidden meanings, for signs that he knows. I'm trapped in my own web of lies and there's no way out. I close my eyes, my chest tightening. I'm not safe. Not here. Not anymore. I thought I was in control. I thought I was the one playing the game. But Tom's been playing too. And I have no idea what his next move will be. The days that follow are a delicate dance, a twisted game of cat and mouse where neither of us says what we're really thinking. We go through the motions of our marriage, playing our parts perfectly, but underneath the surface, the tension is suffocating. Tom is a master at pretending. He smiles at all the right moments, laughs at all the right jokes, and kisses me goodnight like he's done for years. But his eyes are cold, distant, calculating. I've learned to watch him the way he watches me, searching for cracks in his facade, for any sign that he's about to confront me, to expose my lies. But he never does. Instead, he keeps me on edge, dangling the threat of discovery over my head like a guillotine waiting to drop. It's torture. I thought I was good at this game. I thought I was in control. But Tom has turned the tables on me, and now I'm the one being played at. On Saturday, Tom suggests a family day, something we haven't done in months. I'm caught off guard by the sudden display of enthusiasm, but I can't afford to question it. Not when I'm trying so hard to act normal. We take Liam to the park, then out for ice cream. Tom holds my hand as we walk, his fingers warm and firm around mine. To anyone watching, we look like the perfect family, happy, content, in love. But every time I glance at him, I catch that look in his eyes. The one that says he knows. I try to play my part, laughing at Liam's antics, smiling at Tom's jokes. But it all feels wrong, like I'm watching someone else live my life. When we get home, Tom wraps his arms around me, his chin resting on my shoulder. "Today was fun," he murmurs, his breath warm against my neck. "We should do this more often." I shiver, forcing a smile. "Yeah, we should." His arms tighten, his voice dropping to a whisper. "I miss us, you know. I miss how we used to be." My throat closes up, guilt twisting like a knife in my gut. Me too. It's a lie. The truth is, I can barely remember who we used to be. Tom turns me around, his hands cradling my face. His eyes search mine, his gaze so intense that I feel like he's looking straight through me. "I love you, you know that?" The words are so soft, so genuine that for a moment I almost believe him. But then I see it, that flicker of coldness, the faintest hint of a smirk at the corner of his mouth. He's playing me. He's testing me. I force myself to smile, my voice steady. "I love you too." His eyes darken, his fingers tightening just enough to make me flinch. "Good." He kisses me then, slow and deep, his lips possessive, demanding. I let him. I have no choice. That night I call Daniel. I know it's risky, but I can't help myself. I need to hear his voice. Need him to remind me that I'm still in control. He answers on the first ring. "Hey, beautiful. Miss me?" My eyes burn with unshed tears. "Yeah, I miss you." There's a pause, his voice softening. "What's wrong?" I open my mouth to tell him everything, to confess how trapped I feel, how terrified I am that Tom knows. But the words won't come. I'm not that weak. I won't let myself be. Nothing. Just, rough day. Daniel doesn't push, his voice gentle. "I wish I could see you." I close my eyes, pressing the phone to my ear, needing his words to wrap around me, to drown out Tom's voice in my head. Me too. But it's too risky. I can't see him. Not when Tom is watching me so closely. "Soon," I whisper, hoping it's not a lie. "I promise." I don't sleep that night. I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling Tom's presence beside me like a weight on my chest. His breathing is slow even, but I don't believe it for a second. He's awake. He's watching me, waiting for me to break. I feel the walls closing in, the pressure building. It's too much. I can't keep this up. I need to see Daniel. I need to get out of here. But every time I try to think of a way to escape, I see Tom's eyes, his calculating smile. He's trapped me. He's boxed me in. I'm a prisoner in my own life. The next morning I find Tom in the kitchen drinking his coffee, his laptop open on the counter. He looks up when I walk in, his expression perfectly neutral. Morning. I force a smile. Morning. He watches me as I pour my coffee, his gaze too steady, too focused. I feel my heart race, my skin prickling under his scrutiny. I'm sure he's going to confront me, to throw Daniel's name in my face, to expose my lies. But instead he just sips his coffee, his voice casual. I was thinking, we should go away next weekend. Just the two of us. My heart skips a beat. What? Tom smiles, his eyes never leaving mine. Yeah, a little getaway. We could use some time alone, don't you think? I can't breathe. He's trapping me, cutting off my escape, keeping me away from Daniel. I scramble for an excuse, but my mind is blank. I don't know. I'll have to check with work. His smile widens, his voice dangerously soft. Already did. Called Sarah last night. She said you're clear. I feel the blood drain from my face. I don't know what's worse, that he went behind my back, or that Sarah lied for him. He leans in, his lips brushing my cheek. I can't wait. His voice is cold, his smile triumphant. He's won, and there's nothing I can do about it. I watch him leave, my hands shaking as I grip my coffee mug. He knows. He's known all along. And now he's punishing me. He's taking me away, isolating me, cutting me off from Daniel, from my lies, from my escape. He's trapping me. And I walked right into it. I thought I was the one in control. I thought I was the one calling the shots. But Tom was always 2 steps ahead. And now there's no way out. I feel the walls closing in around me. Tom's plan to take me away isn't some grand romantic gesture. It's a power move, a warning, a way to control me. He's cutting me off from Daniel, from my excuses, from my ability to lie my way out of this. And I don't have a choice. That Friday I pack my bags in silence, my hands trembling as I fold my clothes neatly into the suitcase. Tom watches me from the doorway, his arms crossed, his expression unreadable. You're quiet, he notes. I force a smile, glancing at him over my shoulder. Just tired. Work's been stressful. He tilts his head slightly, studying me like I'm some kind of puzzle he's already solved. That's why we're doing this. You need a break. I nod, swallowing down the lump in my throat. He's lying. We both are. He's not taking me away to relax. He's taking me away to keep me under his thumb, to control the narrative before I can spin another lie. I can feel it in my bones. And the worst part? I have no way out. I sit in the passenger seat, staring out the window as Tom drives us toward the mountains. He hums softly to himself, his fingers tapping against the steering wheel in a rhythm that sets my nerves on edge. Every now and then he glances at me, his eyes flicking over my face like he's searching for something. I don't let him find it. I keep my expression neutral, my posture relaxed, my breathing even. I can't let him see the panic simmering just beneath the surface. After an hour I reach for my phone, needing something, anything to distract me. But there's no signal. I glance at the screen, my stomach twisting. There's no service out here? Tom smirks, his eyes fixed on the road. Nope. That's the point. No distractions, just us. I grip the phone tighter, my heart hammering in my chest. No signal means no Daniel. No excuses. No last-minute lies. I'm completely at Tom's mercy. And he knows it. The cabin is beautiful, secluded, nestled between towering trees, with a wraparound porch overlooking a pristine lake. It's the kind of place I might have once considered romantic. Now it feels like a cage. Tom carries our bags inside, moving with a quiet ease that sets my teeth on edge. He's too calm, too controlled. He's planned this. Every single detail. And I walked right into it. Dinner is quiet, the only sound coming from the crackling fire in the corner. Tom pours us both a glass of wine, his movements slow and deliberate. To us, he says, raising his glass. I hesitate for half a second before clinking mine against his. To us. He watches me as I drink, his expression unreadable. You've been distant lately. My stomach twists, but I keep my face carefully neutral. I've been stressed. Work, life, everything. He tilts his head slightly, studying me. Is that all? I nod, forcing a small laugh. Of course. What else would it be? For a moment he says nothing. Just watches me, his fingers tapping against the stem of his glass. Then he leans back, his lips curling into something that isn't quite a smile. I believe you. But he doesn't. I can feel it in my bones. And suddenly I understand. This isn't just about taking me away. This is a test. Tom is waiting for me to slip, to contradict myself, to leave a crack in my story big enough for him to shatter everything. I feel my pulse pounding in my throat as I set my glass down. I think I'm going to turn in early, I murmur, pushing my chair back. Tom nods, his smirk deepening. Of course. Get some rest. We have the whole weekend ahead of us. I close the bedroom door behind me, exhaling slowly. I need to think. I need to plan. I sit on the edge of the bed, gripping my phone even though I already know the answer. No service. No way to reach Daniel. For the first time, real fear creeps in. I underestimated Tom. I thought I was the one playing the game. But he's already 10 steps ahead of me. And now I have nowhere to run that I barely sleep that night. Every creak of the cabin, every rustle of the wind outside makes my heart race. My mind conjuring shadows where there are none. Tom lies beside me, his breathing steady, his body relaxed. But I don't believe it. Not for a second. I keep waiting for him to confront me, to rip the truth from me, to throw Daniel's name in my face. But he does nothing. And somehow that's even worse. I wake up to the smell of bacon, the sun streaming through the window. For a split second I almost forget where I am, almost forget the mess I've made of my life. But then I hear Tom whistling downstairs, his tone light and cheerful, and the reality crashes back down on me. He's still playing his part. I dress quickly, forcing myself to appear calm, collected. I can't let him see how rattled I am. Tom smiles when I walk into the kitchen, his eyes crinkling at the corners. Good morning, sleepyhead. I smile back, the gesture feeling foreign on my face. Morning. He kisses my cheek, lingering just a second too long. Hungry? I nod, swallowing hard. Yeah. We sit down to breakfast, the small table between us feeling like a battlefield. Every word, every glance is calculated, each of us measuring the other, waiting for the next move. Tom is too relaxed, too cheerful. He laughs at his own jokes, teases me about my bedhead, reaches across the table to brush a crumb from my lip. He's putting on a show. And I'm his only audience. After breakfast, Tom suggests we go for a hike. I don't have a choice. We walk the winding trails, the trees closing in around us, the sun filtering through the leaves. It should be beautiful, peaceful even. But all I feel is trapped. I glance at my phone for the 100th time, hoping for even the faintest signal. There's nothing. Tom notices. Expecting a call? I shove the phone into my pocket, my heart racing. No. Just checking the time. His eyes linger on me, his lips twitching. We're on vacation. No need to keep track of time, right? I force a laugh. Right. But my skin prickles, my instincts screaming that he knows I'm lying. We walk in silence, the tension so thick I can barely breathe. I keep my eyes on the path, my mind racing. If he confronts me here, there's nowhere to run. No one to hear me scream. I shiver, the thought sending a cold chill down my spine. Tom glances at me, his eyes narrowing. Cold. I shake my head quickly. Just a breeze. He watches me for a moment longer, his gaze penetrating, before turning back to the trail. We should come up here more often. It's so isolated. His words are casual, his tone light. But there's an edge underneath, a darkness that makes my stomach turn. Isolated. Alone. Trapped. I nod, my voice barely above a whisper. Yeah. It's beautiful. That night, we sit by the fire, the room bathed in a soft orange glow. Tom pours us both a glass of wine, handing mine to me with a smile. He watches me drink, his eyes never leaving my face. I can feel the suspicion radiating off him, like a predator watching its prey. I force myself to smile, to laugh at his jokes, to play the part of the loving wife. But my skin is crawling, my instincts screaming at me to run. Tom leans back in his chair, swirling his wine glass. You've been distracted lately. My heart skips a beat. Work's been stressful. He nods slowly, his fingers tapping against his glass. I figured. You've been spending a lot of time with Sarah. I freeze, my blood turning to ice. Yeah, she's been having a rough time. Just trying to be there for her. Tom's lips curl into a small smile. That's sweet of you. He takes another sip of his wine, his eyes never leaving mine. Funny though. I ran into Sarah last week. She said she hasn't seen you in months. My heart stops. The room tilts, the air sucked out of my lungs. He knows. He's known all along. I open my mouth, but no sound comes out. My mind is racing, trying to spin a story, trying to find a way out. But Tom doesn't give me the chance. He leans forward, his face inches from mine, his eyes dark and cold. You're lying to me. The words are low, soft, almost gentle. But they hit me like a sledgehammer. I feel the blood drain from my face, my hands shaking so hard I almost drop my wine glass. I don't know what you're talking about. Tom's jaw tightens, his eyes narrowing. I'm not stupid. And I'm done playing this game. He stands, his movements slow, controlled. You've been lying to me for weeks. Sneaking around, making excuses, covering your tracks. He walks toward the window, his back to me. I tried to give you the benefit of the doubt. I tried to believe you. His voice drops, barely above a whisper. But I know. I can't breathe. I can't move. My mind is screaming at me to deny it, to lie, to run. But my body is frozen, paralyzed by fear. Tom turns, his face cold, his eyes hollow. Do you love him? The question slices through me, raw and vicious. I open my mouth, my instinct to lie, to protect myself, to deny everything. But the look on his face stops me. I've never seen him look so broken. So betrayed. And for a split second I feel the full weight of what I've done. I destroyed him. I destroyed us. Tom steps closer, his fists clenched at his sides. Do you love him? I can't lie. Not this time. Tears blur my vision, my voice breaking. I don't know. His face crumples, the pain flashing across his features before he can hide it. He turns away, his shoulders shaking. I trusted you. I loved you. His voice cracks, the anger giving way to raw hurt. How could you do this to me? I reach out, my hand trembling. Tom, I. He pulls away, his voice cold and empty. Don't. Just don't. He walks out of the room, the door slamming behind him, leaving me alone with my lies, my guilt, my shattered life. I thought I could play this game. I thought I could keep all the pieces in place. But Tom was always smarter than I gave him credit for. And now I've lost everything. I sit alone by the dying fire, the cabin eerily quiet around me. Tom's words echo in my head, each one cutting deeper than the last. I trusted you. I loved you. I feel hollow, my chest aching, my hands still trembling from the confrontation. I thought I could handle this, thought I could keep all the pieces in place, keep my worlds from colliding. I was wrong. Tom knows everything. And I have no one to blame but myself. I look around the cabin at the carefully curated space meant to trap me, to isolate me. Tom brought me here to confront me, to rip my lies apart piece by piece. I played right into his hands. I reach for my phone, desperate for comfort, for escape. But there's still no signal. No way to reach Daniel. No way to run. Tom has me exactly where he wants me. I barely sleep that night. I lie awake, my eyes fixed on the ceiling, my mind replaying every word, every accusation. I thought I was smarter than this. I thought I was in control. But Tom saw right through me. He watched me lie, watched me weave my stories, watched me play my part. And he never said a word. He let me dig my own grave. Morning comes too soon, the light creeping through the window, cruel and unrelenting. I feel sick, my body heavy, my head pounding from lack of sleep. I hear Tom downstairs, moving around the kitchen. I don't want to face him. I don't want to see the anger, the pain, the betrayal in his eyes. But I don't have a choice. I force myself out of bed, my legs unsteady as I make my way downstairs. Tom is at the stove, his back to me as he flips pancakes with a mechanical precision that makes my stomach turn. He doesn't look at me when I enter the kitchen. Doesn't acknowledge me at all. The silence is suffocating. I clear my throat, my voice hoarse. Tom. He doesn't respond. Just keeps flipping the pancakes, his movement stiff, robotic. I take a step closer, my heart racing. I'm sorry. The spatula clatters against the pan, his shoulders tensing. I feel tears sting my eyes, my chest tightening. I never meant to hurt you. Tom laughs, a bitter, hollow sound that sends a chill down my spine. He finally turns to face me, his eyes red, his expression cold. Well, congratulations. You did. The words hit me like a slap, my knees buckling. I grip the counter to steady myself. Tom, please. His face hardens, his voice sharp. Don't you dare beg for forgiveness. Not after everything you've done. I flinch, the accusation slicing through me. I never wanted this. I never wanted to hurt you. Tom's jaw clenches, his hands curling into fists. Then why did you do it? The question hangs between us, heavy and damning. I open my mouth, but no words come out. How do I explain the emptiness, the loneliness, the need for something more? How do I justify the lies, the deceit, the betrayal? Tom's eyes narrow, his voice cold. Was I not enough for you? I shake my head, tears slipping down my cheeks. It wasn't about you. He laughs again, the sound raw and broken. Don't lie to me. Not anymore. You looked me in the eye and lied to my face over and over again. And I believed you. Like a fool, I believed every word. I take a step toward him, my hands shaking. Tom, please. I never wanted this. I never wanted to lose you. His face twists with anger, his voice rising. You already lost me. The second you decided to betray me, you lost me. I stagger back, the force of his words knocking the air out of my lungs. Tom's shoulders sag, his anger giving way to pain. I loved you. God, I loved you so much. I gave you everything and it still wasn't enough. He sinks into a chair, his head in his hands. I don't even know who you are anymore. His words shatter me, breaking down the walls I've built around my heart. I thought I could keep my world separate, thought I could lie my way out of this. But there's no escape. Not anymore. I sit across from him, my hands twisting in my lap. I never wanted to hurt you. I felt so lost. So invisible. Tom lifts his head, his eyes hollow. So you went looking for someone else? You went behind my back, lied to my face, and destroyed everything we built. I flinch, his words hitting me like knives. I didn't mean for it to happen. It just did. He shakes his head, disgust twisting his features. No. You made a choice. You chose him. Over me. Over us. I can't breathe, my chest tightening. Tom, please. He stands, his body rigid. Don't. I don't want to hear your excuses. I don't want to hear anything from you. He walks to the door, his shoulders tense. I'm going for a walk. I need to clear my head. I stand, panic clawing at my chest. Tom, wait. He looks at me then, his eyes so cold, so empty that I feel my heart break. I trusted you. I loved you. And you destroyed me. I open my mouth, but the words die in my throat. He walks out the door, letting it slam behind him. I sink to the floor, my body shaking, my heart shattered. I thought I could play this game. I thought I could have it all. But I've lost everything. Tom is gone. And I don't know if he's ever coming back. Tom doesn't come back that night. I wait by the window, my eyes glued to the driveway, my heart sinking lower with every passing hour. I keep expecting his car to pull up, for him to storm through the door, his anger fierce, his pain raw. But he never comes. I don't sleep. I don't eat. I just sit there staring into the darkness, the weight of my choices crushing me. I've never felt so alone. I thought I was in control. I thought I could play this game and win. But I was never the one holding the cards. Tom was always 2 steps ahead. And now I've lost everything. Morning comes, cold and gray. I search the cabin, my heart pounding, my mind racing with possibilities. Did he leave me? Did he go back home? Is he coming back to confront me, to end this once and for all? His things are still here. His clothes, his shoes, his phone charger by the nightstand. But he's gone. I stand in the doorway, my chest tightening, my mind spiraling. What if he doesn't come back? What if he never forgives me? I feel the panic rise, the walls closing in. I grab my phone, my fingers shaking as I dial his number. To go straight to voicemail. I try again. And again. Nothing. I sink to the floor, my tears finally breaking free, my body shaking with sobs. He's really gone. That I can't stay here. Not in this cabin, surrounded by memories of what we used to be. Haunted by the ghost of what I've lost. I pack my bags, my hands numb, my vision blurred by tears. I leave his things behind, a part of me hoping he'll come back for them, that he'll come back for me. The drive home is a blur, the road winding before me as my mind replays every moment, every lie, every decision that led me to this point. I thought I could handle this. I thought I could keep everything separate, keep my marriage intact while chasing the thrill of something new. But I was wrong. I destroyed my life. And now I have nothing left. I pull into the driveway, my heart aching as I stare at the house that used to be my home. It looks the same, but everything is different. Tom's car isn't there. The house is dark, empty, cold. I step inside, my footsteps echoing through the silence. It feels foreign, like I don't belong here anymore. I walk through the rooms, my eyes catching on pictures of our family. Smiling faces, happy memories, moments that are now tainted by my lies. I collapse on the couch, my chest tightening as the reality sinks in. I did this. I destroyed us. I pick up my phone, my fingers hovering over Daniel's number. I want to call him, want to hear his voice, want to feel that thrill again, that spark that made me feel alive. But the thought makes me sick. Daniel can't fix this. He can't make this better. He was never the answer. I was running from my life, from my marriage, from myself. And now I have nowhere left to run. I delete his number. I delete every message, every photo, every trace of him from my phone. It's over. 3 days pass. I hear nothing from Tom. Not a text, not a call, not a sign that he even exists anymore. I wake up each morning to an empty bed. An empty house, an empty heart. I've never felt more alone. Then on the 4th day, his car pulls into the driveway. I watch from the window, my heart pounding, my hands trembling. I've imagined this moment 100 times, rehearsed every apology, every plea, every desperate promise to make things right. But when Tom walks through the door, his face is cold, his eyes hollow. He doesn't look at me as he walks upstairs, grabbing his things, shoving them into bags with a mechanical precision that makes my stomach turn. I stand in the doorway, my chest aching, my voice trembling. Tom, please. Don't do this. He doesn't stop packing. Doesn't even look at me. You did this. The words are cold, final. I take a step toward him, my hands shaking. I'm sorry. I was stupid, I was selfish. I never meant to hurt you. He laughs, a bitter, hollow sound. You never meant to get caught. That's the only thing you're sorry for. I flinch, his accusation cutting deep. No. I was lost, I don't even know who I am anymore. He zips his bag, his shoulders rigid. I do. You're a liar. A cheater. And I don't even recognize you. My knees buckle, the weight of his words knocking the air out of my lungs. I love you. I never stopped loving you. Tom finally looks at me, his eyes cold and empty. No. You love yourself. You love the thrill, the lies, the game. But you don't love me. Not really. He pushes past me, his touch cold, his body rigid. I follow him to the door, my heart breaking. Please. Don't leave. We can fix this. We can get through this. Tom turns, his face hard. We're done. My vision blurs, my chest tightening. Tom. He shakes his head, his voice flat. You killed us. You destroyed everything. I can't even look at you without hating you. The words hit me like a sledgehammer, my body collapsing against the doorframe. He walks out, his footsteps echoing down the driveway, his car door slamming shut. I watch him drive away, my heart shattering, my tears flowing freely. I thought I could have it all. I thought I could play this game and win. But I was wrong. I lost everything. And now I have nothing left. I sink to the floor, my body shaking with sobs, my world crumbling around me. I was never in control. I was just a fool playing pretend. And the game is over. The end.